Welcome back to the Intuitive Creators Podcast, the space where spirituality, creativity, and aligned living come together. I'm your host, Mandee, and today we're diving into a topic that I feel so deeply passionate about: soul-led marketing in a clickbait world. We'll explore how to stay authentic in your business, how to share your work without falling into gimmicks, and why leading with your soul always creates the most magnetic impact. Because let's be honest, whether you're a healer, a teacher, a coach, or a creative, at some point you've felt the pressure to market yourself in ways that feel off, pushy, manipulative, maybe even slimy. You see others doing it, getting thousands of clicks, and you start to question, do I have to sell my soul to be seen? And the answer, my loves, is no. Today we're going to explore what it means to market from your soul, how to trust your voice instead of falling into the trap of clickbait culture, and why true resonance always outshines empty tactics. But before we dive in, let's answer some important questions. What is clickbait culture? So to define that, the way that I've explained it in this is it is exaggerated promises, shock value, emotional manipulation. So an example of this would be, you won't believe this one secret to manifest $10,000 overnight. And why it works? Well, it plays on human psychology, fear of missing out, urgency, curiosity gaps. The shadow side of this, though, it is something that creates mistrust, disappointment, and ultimately burnout for both the audience and the creator. There's really not anything positive about clickbait culture, and how it was created was, by using human psychology. And not for nothing, but like marketing itself, that industry can be very manipulative and negative in terms of energy. Now, I am somebody that does do marketing services, so I am part of that industry. But to me personally, I'm a firm believer in authentic marketing, meaning I'm not going to tell every single person the same advice. No, the marketing services that I provide for my clients is custom made for them in terms of their goals, what their business is, and how they want to conduct that business. I just want to give that as like a bit of a disclaimer. I am part of marketing as a creator, but not in the way that I fall into this category by any means. But it is something that I have seen a ton of over the last few years, especially on social media. Everybody and their sister and brother think that they can do marketing, which is, to me, honestly, hilarious. So, a bit of a reflection. Clickbait culture is the energetic equivalent of fast food. It's quick, it's flashy, and it might fill you for a moment, but it doesn't nourish you. And the more we consume it, the more we forget what real nourishment tastes like. It's really a vicious cycle that creates that sense of urgency, and then of course the missing out, the fear. And fear isn't a good thing. Now, can we use fear as a way to break through blockages? Can we use fear as information for us to move forward and to grow? Absolutely. But fear is not necessarily a positive thing. What is soul-led marketing, though? Let's get away from the negative for a moment. This is what is rooted in authenticity, truth, and alignment within your values. It's not about convincing, it's about connecting. You're not chasing numbers, you're cultivating resonance. Much different value system there. So the key principles for this one is that you speak to transformation, not desperation. You share stories, personal truths, client journeys, real human experiences. Trust that the right people are magnetized to your authenticity. So an example of this I can speak upon myself is when I talk about my yoga classes or my spiritual guidance work. I don't want people to come because they're afraid of missing out. I want them to come because something in my words, my energy, my presence resonates with their soul. I'm really just speaking to them in a way that makes sense to the human part of them. I don't want to create a sense of urgency. I don't want them to act out of fear. Those are things that I want to be so very far away from personally, because that's what my services are counteracting, right? So like, if I get somebody to come out of fear, then I have to do even more work to get them to ground again. Personally, I am not about that life at all. And obviously that speaks to my authenticity and the work that I've done on myself and the things that I've asked myself in terms of like how I want to show up. What is my presence saying to other people? The energetics of marketing. Everything you put out carries frequency. So if we're talking about energy in terms of the subject, that's what that means. Everything carries frequency. If you're stressed, desperate, or manipulative in your messaging, people will feel it, especially if you're somebody that is able to tap into energies, you're sensitive, or you are highly discerning, or you're somebody that is very authentic. When you are in your authentic self, your authentic own presence, and you understand your power, then it is very, very hard for you to become manipulated. That is one of the top reasons or the top signs that you have reached your authenticity. But on the flip side, if you're calm, clear, and grounded, they feel that too. So like the energy is felt in general, but not everybody is able to interpret that energy, right? So within that, there's a reframe. Marketing isn't just strategy, it's energy transmission. I'm going to say that one again for you. Marketing isn't just strategy, it's energy transmission. So it is your copy, your visuals, even how you show up on a live stream, right? This is all about presence. You know, you're cultivating something that is authentic to you. Now, when it's on the opposite side, the negative side, it's just very superficial and fake, right? It just has the appeal of aesthetics and what, you know, the copy is more like what you want to hear rather than what you need to hear. There's a pretty big difference there. So a practice I want you to try in your own time, doesn't have to be right now, is take a deep breath, place your hand over your heart, feel the warmth of your palm, and then ask yourself, if I stripped away all pressure to sell, what would I genuinely want to share today? That's your soul-led message right there. Knowing your why you share is also really important, something I've talked about pretty heavily on social media. If you are not following me over there, please do. There are links in the description and in the show notes, or whatever those things are for podcasts. I'm still learning. Sue me over here. But understanding why you're led to share certain things is super important. Honestly, the the content on my social media that has gotten the most attention, the most engagement has only ever been stuff that I was very hesitant to share. And part of me has just learned, like, the raw parts of me are the most interesting and the most needed in this world. So that is always my motivation in terms of sharing those things. Even if I have some questions and I'm like, I don't know how it's going to be received, I still put it out there, because I would rather put something out there and learn from it to improve than to never share anything at all. That's actually much more scary to me now. But I digress. I am a recovering perfectionist. If that's also you, I would love to have you part of this community and for you to share your journey with me. So the temptation of clickbait and how to resist it. I feel like this is probably some of the most interesting parts of this podcast episode. So bear with me. So to acknowledge the pressure, we're surrounded by people who claim 10K months, viral trends, and secret hacks. What a load of crap that is. The danger, though, you dilute your voice and lose trust within your audience. I'm going to talk about that in a moment, a little bit further. Instead of trying to sound like everyone else, how about you double down on your uniqueness, which is great advice. So this is something I've been saying for a little bit now, and I really only say it to people. I don't talk about it on social media. I probably should. Maybe this episode will be my motivation and inspires me to share it online a bit more. But I'm really sick and tired of reading people's bios or just clickbait bullshit on videos and things where people claim that they make 10K a month doing A, B, or C. I'm sorry, but you do not need to tell me how much you're making in order for me to understand the value of the service that is provided or that you're trying to provide. That to me is, you are playing on my insecurities, you are playing on my fears, and it's manipulative. I am not going to click on that out of desperation because I think that you have more information or knowledge than me, and maybe there's something for me to learn from you. No. Quite actually the opposite. I want to be learning from people who are humble and actually dedicate their lives to learning. To me, it's a whole lot of 20-somethings who are TikTok happy, who make these claims in terms of viral trends, secret hacks. You know what the secret is to life? Being a lifelong student. That's the secret of life. Never stop growing, okay? And stop giving your money to these idiots who took like a quick 2-hour training seminar from somebody that created a scenario of desperation and manipulation. No. Don't fall for it. Instead, listen to your intuition and double down on your uniqueness, right? You're not trying to sound like everybody else. Stop trying and start being who you are authentically. Can you tell I'm passionate about this subject? Just a little bit. So, tips in order to resist this. 1, I want you to notice when you're writing something just because it sounds good or grabs attention. 2, pause and ask, would I be proud of this message in 5 years? And 3, shift from urgency to empowerment. How can you build trust through soul-led marketing? Trust is the new currency. And I really love this. I'm probably going to be very inspired to do some content based on this subject in a multitude of ways. But consistency is valuable. Showing up as you are, not a polished mask, yeah, there's value there. Inviting dialogue instead of broadcasting, again, lots of value. You're inviting in conversation and connection with people. That's going to facilitate safety and trust. And when you create those two things, those people become loyal to you. They become customers that understand the value that you bring to their lives. And that's how you create a business. That's it. That's it. Not fear-mongering or emotional manipulation. But again, we see a lot of that in business. And I digress, those people are a dime a dozen. So examples of these things that I'm talking about. A coach who admits their struggles instead of pretending they've arrived. You will never arrive. You will only be present. That is the ultimate goal, is to be present as often as possible. That's it. Not to arrive anywhere. The destination, it means like you're at the end. You're never really truly at the end if you believe in energy and if you're a spiritual person. A healer who shares a behind-the-scenes glimpse of their practices. I love behind-the-scenes content personally. It gives me more of a visual of what that experience will be like with that person. And I'm more led to believe that they are somebody that really cares about the services that they provide. A creator who explains the why behind their work instead of just selling the what. See, this is where I'm tying this in. If you understand your why, then you can connect much quicker, much faster, and with more power, right? If you know why and who you are trying to target, you will sell so much easier, with ease even, rather than somebody who's just selling the what really quick, really fast, and for probably very cheap, or for something way too out of price range for most people. So the reflection here is your people don't just want your product or service. They want to feel your soul within it. So they want to get a piece of you, not in the way that like you're giving it away, but in that they get to experience who you are within the product, within the service. This is where your uniqueness is so important, and it gives you the ability to sell yourself authentically, yes, but also create that value without having to oversell yourself. It comes naturally. It's supposed to. Practical soul-led marketing practices. I've got some ideas for you. If you have never heard any of my podcast episodes, this is what I like to give. I like to give practical advice, not just talking about the subject, just because it's fun to talk about, How to ground this concept into action. This is just for you, my friends. Intention before content. Always set an intention for the energy you want to carry into a post, podcast, or offering. This is something I like to do verbally. So before I create it, I will set an intention on it. Before I post it, I will set an intention on it. And when it is posted, I am also setting that same intention. I'm reinforcing it, in fact. Storytelling. Over scripting. Share your real stories. They're magnetic. Now, I can give this as an example of this podcast. So I have scripted out every one of the episodes, I admit, but they were just as general blueprints for me. I have slowly started to gain a bit more confidence over time, and I've added my authentic thoughts, feelings, and experiences woven within each of the episodes. So I like to do that because I'm somebody that really enjoys writing. If you can't tell I am a well-written person, then I don't know what to tell you. But anywho, I enjoy the writing process and kind of getting out my general thoughts, creating an order of things and topics and points. And then from there, I give myself the freedom to express, to share authentically, and with my own real stories, right? Which is how I'm able to connect with my audience. Clarity over hype. Instead of saying this will change your life forever, say this can help you shift X into Y. Right? That's more powerful, and you're creating a sense of freedom and choice. This is how you can, right? Can meaning it's doable, it's manageable, it's digestible. Instead of this will change your life forever. That's just, I'm sorry, it sounds corny. No, stop doing that. Stop saying it, people. Jeez. Alignment check-ins. Ask yourself, does this feel good in my body, or am I contracting as I write it? Ask those things often. What is the why? Does this feel good to share? Right? Those are things that are really powerful. And if you don't feel led to, then don't do it. Just don't. Just don't. And that doesn't mean just throw it out. Maybe repurpose the content that you have, whatever the thing is. Allow yourself to have the ability to create from your own authentic self. It's really the big takeaway from here. So, marketing as service. I want you to shift your mindset from I need to get clients to how can I serve and support today? So, need has a negative aspect to it, which is desperation. Want is something that can be motivated by desire or motivated by purpose. Which one do you think is more authentic? If you can figure out that the second one is more authentic, then my friends, you are well on your way to success. And I'm very excited for you. So I'd really love to do a part 2 of this episode. And I ideally would like to do it with a guest. So I'm working on right now finding some guests that would like to be on this podcast. So if you are interested and you either know me personally or maybe you don't know me personally at all, but you feel like you can talk about this topic, I would love to hear from you, and I would love to hear your stories. Because I feel like we need to hear those things. And sharing your own story of when you followed your heart versus when you tried to force strategy, I think many people need to hear that. Even I need to hear that personally. And I'd love for people to talk about how the aligned path might be slower, but it creates lasting connections, aligned clients, and deep fulfillment. That is something I'm putting out there into the universe. This is what I'm creating as an intention, that I want to interview and have somebody on as a guest that can talk about this subject. So, with that said, I feel so good talking about this subject. Something beautiful just came out of me. I could feel it deep within my soul. And I am just so very thankful for the opportunity to get to do this every single week and to share from my heart. So in a world that glorifies clickbait and quick fixes, remember this: your soul is your strongest marketing strategy. When you show up in truth, you magnetize people who are truly aligned. And that's what creates not only success, but sustainable, nourishing, soul-led success. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. And I just want to share how much I appreciate everybody that has shown me love for this project. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If this resonated with you, please share it with a friend who's tired of the clickbait noise and ready to walk a more authentic path. Until next time, trust your voice, honor your soul, and keep walking your true path.